and welcome to this week's Hot Scores Coming in Your Eyes. David's obviously had his hands on my scripts this week.
Why not? Wow.
Among the chat are Liverpool missing Suarez, Clint Dempsey, big up, and Dion Dublin Retrospective. Missing Suarez, they certainly are. Would any team miss that creative playmaking? The opportunities that he reveals in front of goals are a consistent threat to any team. It's the pace that he receives the ball and what he does with it is so hard to read the defenders. He can quite literally split them apart. As I said last week, Liverpool are missing a lot more than Suarez. They have a good squad, players that are able to connect with speed and flair when set up right, but Kenny doesn't always seem to do the right thing with his boys. Look at the way they ramped Chelsea earlier on this year. It's not earlier on this year, earlier on late last year. It's all in the tactics. I know he's at PSG now, but Ancelotti could put in a good shift with that squad. Or even Rafa. Would you have Rafa back now?
Absolutely.
There you go. Now there's a man who knows his tactics.
Apart from the Champions League final.
Which one?
The one that he had a howler in the first half.
Yeah, not the one that he won brilliantly.
Yeah, the one that he won.
Anyway, carry on, Sarah.
That. Don't worry about winning Arsenal fans. Anyway, we'll see. But from where I'm sitting, with the money spent, the underachievement and the lack of goals, that serious lack of goals, but plenty of opportunities in the Premier League, is no good. Carling Cup, anyone? Just a quick look now at the African Cup of Nations. I see that Senegal lost their opening game to Zambia, sorry. No goals for Demba Ba there. Not that domestic success always translates in front of goal. You only have to ask Lionel Messi about that. No, it's a bit cynical and very individualist, but it's tough for teams to lose important players during a domestic campaign. I hope they come back injury and illness free. Bet the scouts are living it up though in Equatorial New Guinea right now. What do you think of the ACN, Dave, and how Rao?
Come on, Rao.
Well, to be honest, I think it's enjoyable, but it also makes me think I'm pleased that we don't have any African players at Liverpool. Basically,
so you let Suarez in.
Exactly. No, but you lose them every year. It's something you got to think about.
So you wouldn't buy anyone?
No, definitely not. I wouldn't buy African players.
Yeah, well, if you do, just stop moaning about it like Wenger does.
Yeah,
don't buy them.
When they disappear, why moan?
Or buy a Bure like he did, and whenever he's off for 2 months, it gives the whole crowd a lift.
Yeah, you have a good January then.
Huddo Hudson's wants me to talk about the Cantera policy, where Spanish teams literally farm players from a certain geographical region. Well, Bilbao have been employed it since 1912 and are second only to Real Madrid when it comes to supplying players for the international team. As we've seen in recent years, Spain are pretty much clearing up and leading the way for the kind of football we all want to see played by our developing youngsters. Cantera clubs train up the young'uns, but one issue is when the big boys swoop in and buy the best ones up. There has to be systems like that in place for the youth to flourish. To regionalise that as well makes perfect sense. That way all the talent can be monitored very closely instead of the transfer saga getting too political like it is over here. The principle's in place, there are feeder clubs of sorts, and if AVB had his way, we'd all have B teams in the Championship. If there was more homegrown talent, Premier League clubs wouldn't need to keep on trying to nick players who've been well scouted by other clubs. In a nutshell, if a system works so well in another country, why not study it in detail and do your best to apply it over here? There are so many youngsters out there who could be so much better players than they are now if they were looked after properly from early on. Maybe next millennium is going to be the right sort of time if the FA's current progress is anything to go by. Okay, it's time to take a look back via the Hot Scores Retrospective. Dion Dublin. Dion Dublin's Jube. Dion Dublin probably had his best days at Aston Villa, but it's his transition into the musical instrument manufacturing world that's really impressed me. Dave, you know a bit of Ocean Colour Scene, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Dion Dublin, I think he made one of his debuts as Dion Jubes on stage at Norwich University all those moons ago. If you don't know what a jube is, look it up. It is a square plastic percussion instrument. And he's just been exhibiting it at the LA NAMM show. International touring musician you are now, Dion. Good to see you're not sitting around getting fat and dressing terribly.
Well, not getting fat anyway.
Not getting fat anyway. But was he underrated as a player though, do you think? Do you think he was underrated?
I think so. Yeah, unless you're a United or Villa fan, you didn't get much props.
No.
No.
Well, this guy, you know, Dion scored consistently for Cambridge, Man U, Coventry, Villa, Leicester, Celtic and Norwich. He even got 3 in on 5 at loan at Millwall. Not prolific, but a player you could count on, and a top geezer by all accounts to boot. Plus, I'm sure he was never short in the shower.
Oh, that's dubious.
Oh dear.
Dubious.
There you go, enough respect for that alone, Dion. Hot Scores are very excited to announce that we're buddying up and having sleepovers with Bettingpro.com. Cool, you're a bit rude today, you two, aren't you? Bloody hell.
Just in the mood.
Love is in the air.
Top site where you can find all the latest betting news and tips, and even better, free bets. Get involved. So we bring you hot picks, 3 predictions from me each week. I'm putting my wits I'm pitting my wits against Neil Rorty at Bettingpro, who has promised me some free bets for Hot Scores fans. Tweet me for further info on that. Villa versus QPR. QPR Sparky off the back of that 3-1 win against Wigan.
See what you did there? Sparky.
Gotta love a pun, haven't you? And Villa have a rejuvenated Robbie Keane. Ooh, 2-1 away for QPR, I'd say, but Neil says 2-1 to Villa. Swansea versus Chelsea. Well, Swansea are playing the kind of football that AVB has wet dreams about and will want points after losing at Sunderland, but I'm going for a 1-1 draw. Who has high lines might become a 5-a-side game in the middle. Neil says 1-0 to Chelsea though. Man United versus Stoke. Can't see United dropping any points here as the pressure's really on, although Stoke won't make it easy for them. I say United 2-1, Neil says 3-1. We'll see, eh? Now, quite a few of you asked me to talk about Clint Dempsey last week. I said yes, even before the hat-trick. Quite some player, a top tweeter, and has a massive soft spot for Maradona, I've heard. Apparently he was heartbroken when he didn't see him play at the 1994 World Cup. I have been sharing the Clint Dempsey love on Twitter for quite some time now. About that 5-2 win over Newcastle, I really enjoyed the pace of Andy Johnson's surge on the first one, and Bobby C had Colaccini on his backside before Dempsey put it away. Torres would have sent that to Mars, in all honesty. Worked goals do it for me over blasting long ranges any day, no surprise there. The third one gets my vote. There's tidy lob from Bobby Z again. Then Dempsey just takes it so strong, accurate, talented, versatile and confident and capable this year in the Premier League. It's not all about money, buying goals, and he's called Clint. For fuck's sake. He's called Clint, how cool is that? Ever seen him and David playing in the same room though?
No.
Jay Garcia 1999 wants to know if I think Chelsea will finish in the top 4. Yes, I think they will finish 4th behind Spurs, United, then City.
In that order?
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
Spurs, United, City, eh?
Yeah, Chelsea, Spurs, United and City.
What do you reckon?
What, the top 4 finish? I don't care about anymore. I only care about
You
like,
don't care
top
about
4?
mid-table.
5 to 7 is where it's really
Or
at.
maybe
Yeah.
5 to 9.
Well,
5
corkies
to 7.
hang out.
It is.
Last week I asked you about pranks you played and GHTT_ came back with a gold medal effort. He poured 6 bottles of washing up liquid down the toilet system in a hotel in Amsterdam on a stag weekend. Needless to say, they were evicted from the hotel and that must have been a funny sight.
Bloody chavs.
Okay, thanks for tuning in,
Tunisian. Thanks to all the Tunisian
Thanks to
views.
Yeah,
Tunisian fans.
good luck to Tunisia in the World Cup and Cup of Nations. Have they got a team out? Egypt haven't, I don't know. Right, thanks everyone for tuning in. I just want to point you in the direction of Chris_Elastico's site for all you need on South American football, theelastico.com. Absolutely brilliant. See you next week. Have a good one, but not before feasting your eyes on this week's hag. Hot, awesome girl, the girl who called the Ribéry scandal, Zahia Dehar. All tight.